So today you watch us continue our journey west, heading towards Solent. The plan is to go to Sparks Marina, just on the corner of Hayling Island, near Hayling Island Sailing Club, a place we've been to many times before, but always in a car with a dinghy on the back, never by boat.
We're just going past Beachy Head, but I think it's really sad. I think someone's jumped off. In England, this cliff is famous for people committing suicide, and was a helicopter, and now there are two. Well, there's one lifeboat and another lifeboat coming behind. So I think someone's jumped off, and there's probably a body in the sea. Hope they get the body before we get there. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. Oh my god, these waves are massive. Sad for somebody. Very sad. I'm sitting at the front because guess what? I've seen dolphins! Ah! I've seen 6 dolphins this whole trip so far, and I just saw them really near our bow, so I've come up here and can't see any now. They'll come back. We've got the motor on because we've got a lot. Oh, there's the helicopter. Can you see it? Got a long old trip to the Solent today. But hopefully we'll turn the engine off in a minute and put the spinnaker back up.
Maybe they're just training and there's nobody being. Maybe they got stuck halfway up the cliff. That would be embarrassing.
Not sure how well this is going to come out on the camera, but there are so many seagulls here, and they're not obviously fishing, they're just bobbing around on the water. Thousands and thousands of them. Like that one. We are motor sailing again now. There's just not quite enough wind today, it's a shame. The other day, 2 days ago, when we last did this, went in this direction, it was perfect. It was like 14, 15 knots behind us, beautiful sunshine, we were creaming along. Today it's meant to be 12, 13, but in reality it's more like 8 to 10, and when you're going downwind with the tide, it's still a beautiful sailing day, but of course we're a family on a holiday rather than a boat just sailing, so we have to do what keeps everyone happy, so we kind of need to get there at a sensible time, so we're motor sailing. But it has introduced the first time that I've thought a snuffer is actually quite a useful thing to have, because when the wind, we had the spinnaker up, we were sailing quite nicely, and then the wind started to go light, and of course I could just pull the snuffer down. And we carried on sort of motor sailing with just the moan up, left the spinnaker in the sock with the sock in the air, and as the winds picked back up again, we pulled the sock back out, and that's been good. Up until now, I'm a bit mixed feelings about a snuffer. There seems to be as many drawbacks as there are benefits, because especially 2 days ago when we used it, we ended up having to drop the spinnaker the conventional way down the front hatch, because the down rope, if you like, of the snuffer was in front of the sail, not behind the sail. One of those things that, you know, is obvious when you're looking for it, but when it's all in the bag on the deck and it was a rolly sea and everything else, it's easier to get the wrong way round. And of course it meant its snuffer jammed up the top of the mast, and we had to drop the spinnaker, like I say, the old-fashioned way. So I think of the times I've used the snuffer now, which is like 4 times, 50% of those have been a problem one way or another. The other ones have been peachy. So, oh, my arm's getting tired. Try that way. So, but I'm slowly warming to it. The trouble is really, we don't use the spinnaker and the snuffer enough to get into a routine of what works and what doesn't work. You know, the right things to look for. I am liking this conventional spinnaker over the cruising chute. The one caveat to that is I haven't tried the cruising chute yet with the tack effectively on the end of the pole. That might give it a bit more versatility. But at the moment, this conventional kite, as ever, you know, you can go anywhere from a reach to a run, and it's fine, and it's much easier to jibe because you just end-to-end the pole rather than the cruising chute. Trying to get the cruising chute around the jib and stuff is all a faff, to the point where we normally just drop it, reset it and hoist it again. Although, of course, against that, as much as the conventional spinnaker is nice, setting the pole all the time is a bit of a faff, especially on our boat, because it's not really geared up for a spinnaker, and we do only have 2 winches, which makes all this a bit tricky. And we haven't even got enough clutches, to be honest. We have 1 clutch that we've taken the rope out of, and we keep threading things into it. Like, because it's light winds and we're going downwind, and well, it's a smooth sea today, but the other day was a bit rolly. We really wanted a preventer on the main just to stop it flogging, and we didn't have enough clutches or winches or anything to put it on. But there you go. Other than that, perfect. Really has been. I mean, we never get holidays like this. Really has been just such perfect weather. The only thing that would finish this off is if we had some dolphins jumping around the front of the boat, because Hannah's desperate to see dolphins, and as much as we never see them really up the east coast, and we've seen them half a dozen times now or so, they've never actually come to the boat. So that's what would make this perfect. Maybe. Actually, one final thing before I go. Top of the head of the sail. If you've got a snuffer, put 12 inches of rope or something between the head of the snuffer and the head of the sail, because then the snuffer, when it goes up, rides up over the top of the sail completely and just sits on that little rope, and then that lets you set the sail properly. We discovered that on the cruising chute, and like I say, this was the first time we've really used this conventional spinnaker, and that was done the same. So it kind of collapses the head of the sail, which makes the whole sail want to collapse. Put a bit of rope at the top, get the snuffer out of the way, much better. Just means the spinnaker's a little bit lower down now, closer to the deck, but that's fine. It fits the boat nicely, this spinnaker, so it's all good.
Sails down because the wind has just dropped to 4 knots, and we're actually fighting the tide. Even though we want the tide coming in, which it is, it's going against us at the moment. So we're heading for Hayling Island and a marina called Sparks. I've already rang ahead and hopefully booked a mooring. It's 5 o'clock, we left at 9 o'clock. We're still probably 5 miles away. It's been good. It's been beautiful actually. It's just so hot. We are not used to this heat in the UK. So it's been trying to find shade a lot of the time. The dog's been really hot and so's Izzy. Hasn't been ideal, but I've seen loads of dolphins. She's great. And we've flown the Spinnaker for hours and hours, which has also been great. So this would be a first for us, this Hayling Island place. We've raced dinghies at Hayling Island countless times, but we've never brought a big boat in. So that's going to be exciting. Anyway, I'll keep you posted when we get there.
So Chichester Harbour is the first of the 3 natural harbours that you come to as you come into the Solent. There's Chichester Harbour, then Hayling Island, which is where we're staying, separates it from Langstone Harbour, and then the next one along is Portsmouth Harbour. The thing is, there's an awful lot of water that goes inside Chichester Harbour, and it all has to come in and out of this narrow channel. So getting here with the tide in your favour is definitely an advantage. We've done this in dinghies before now, and had to sail in and out pushing the tide, and it takes a very long time. Anyway, Sparks Marina is tucked round the corner, and to us East Coasters it's very much a home from home. It's basically just a cutout in a muddy ditch with a marina stuck in a muddy hole. Fantastic. But such is the demand for marinas and space in this part of the world, they really cram the boats in. It's pretty easy to navigate to, you basically just follow the well-signed buoys. But when we get here, it's one of the tightest marinas we've been in. On this occasion, we were a couple of rows in and had the very last berth on the row. Now as it turned out, apart from the sharp turn going in, it was pretty straightforward getting into this berth. But of course, there'd be no room to turn around when leaving, which meant when we come to leave tomorrow, it'd be a whole different kettle of fish. Yeah, happy with it? I can't really turn around. Winnie, come on. I was going to film it. Winnie's glad we're back on land.
She's getting really tired in this day. Come on, Babs. This way.
Now I'm filming.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 8 o'clock at night in the UK, and this is unheard of to be swimming in the sea.
I think it's gone 8 actually. It's probably more like 9:15 or something.
The sun's setting.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. I love it. I love the heat wave. I love swimming in the sea. This is probably because of climate change. Yeah, I know, but it's very nice. I'm like, this is climate change. So nice. It's been so hot all day. I've been looking at this sea going, I want to jump in it.
You can see your feet as
Yeah, it's
well.
clear.
Yeah. Which is not a big deal for most people at the sea, but for us East Coast swimmers,
Yeah.
it's a big
It's
deal.
normally mud. How do you do this? I don't get how much. I'm just fat, so I float everywhere.
I could float if I go like this.
No, I just...